the B stance dumbbell hip thrust. B stance movements are not completely single leg movements, but we can use B stance movements to help work on some asymmetry or bring up a muscular imbalance. So that's what we're gonna do here. B stance dumbbell hip thrust. So we're gonna set up the same as, we're gonna begin our setup the same as we would for a hip, like just a body weight hip thrust. So how I do that is come down just like I did on the bench. We're gonna have our upper back on the bench, okay? And our feet are gonna be about hip width apart, okay? And our weight is gonna be in our heels. Now, to do the B stance movement, what you're gonna do is, let's say our working leg is gonna be our left leg. We're gonna take our right leg, okay? We're gonna shift that foot slightly forward, and we're gonna bring our toe off the ground here. That's gonna help balance us, okay? So a B stance hip thrust would look like this. I'm actually gonna move my foot out here a little bit more. Get comfortable in this. So there's not like a set way, a set place for me to say your feet must go here. Get comfortable and place your feet where you feel your glutes activate the most. Okay, so that may take a little bit of playing around for you. So we're gonna tuck our chin. We're gonna drive through the heel of our working leg. So notice, and actually I need to move my foot out a little bit more because I'm feeling it more in my quad. That's better. Okay, that's the B stance hip thrust. So we're gonna add a dumbbell to that because that's what we're doing. I'm so sweaty, it's so hot out here. Again, notice how I moved my foot farther out away from my body because I was feeling it more in my quad than my glute. This is a glute exercise, so I want you to feel it in your glutes. So you may have to play around with your hip thrust stance and get it to where you feel the most glute activation. If you're feeling it more in your quads, move your feet around, okay? And actually, this at home, this bench is a little bit too high for hip thrust. So if you have something a little shorter, that's what I recommend using. I'm working on getting some more hip thrusting equipment. I just haven't done it, haven't been able to do it yet. So if you find a bench that's a little bit lower or a platform that's a little bit lower that you can do hip thrust on, that's ideal. That's ideal. Okay. So let's do it with a dumbbell. So what we're gonna do is I'll make this leg my working leg now, and I'm gonna have the dumbbell like this. Okay. So you can do this one of two ways. I'm comfortable enough to shimmy down this bench and have the dumbbell here on my hips already. That's another reason why this is a little too high. The setup for a hip thrust is easier if your platform for your upper back is a little lower than this right here, okay? But I've done this long enough where I feel like I can shimmy down. So we can do it this way, okay? Right here, or you could keep the dumbbell in here and curl it up, okay? All right, we'll find my foot placement for my working leg. I think this is it. And then I'm gonna take my non-working leg and bring my toe up off the ground, placing my heel on the ground. I typically will place my heel at the same place where my working leg toe is, so it's a little bit farther out, okay? So I'm gonna keep my chin tucked. 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? You could put the dumbbell this way. I don't like it that way, I prefer it vertical. But that is the B stance hip thrust. And if you need to do body weight, do body weight. We don't want to do so much weight on a B stance exercise that we defeat the purpose of the B stance exercise, okay? And that means if you do too much weight, you're gonna be recruiting your other leg to do a lot more of the work. We want the work to be more focused on the working leg. So don't go too heavy. You can start as a body weight B stance hip thrust and work up from there.